Okay, I had to pull over because I want to tell you guys about a past client that called one of those We Buy Houses companies. He already bought his new house and he wants an as-is sale, something really streamlined here. So he thought, cash offer, that sounds great. He called them, they came out and took a look. He knew the offer would be low, but it was still even a little bit lower than he could quite stomach. So he called me because he wanted to know, first, how much money he was leaving on the table, and second, could he even sell his house as is on the MLS, and basically have a really streamlined sale with an on-market sale. So we just listed his house this week for 28% more than the highest offer from the We Buy Houses company, and I want to tell you what the result's been. To answer his first question, yes, we absolutely sell properties as is on the market all the time. The big difference is we usually sell them to the end buyer and not to a buyer or middleman who's often going to mark it up and sell it to the end buyer. But I want to tell you a little bit about how many of the We Buy Houses type companies, cash offer companies, wholesalers, how they work. So I'll tell you about that in a minute. But the first step was, come over, Matt, I want you to tell me what my house is worth. So I did that. I looked at the cosmetic stuff it needed, which was really all cosmetic. There was no reason for him to sell off market at a huge discount because it just needed a little updating. So I gave him a value. We worked backwards from market value, what it would take for updates, and then because he wanted to sell it fast and as is, we've even put a little bit of a discount in there. What frequently happens when you call one of those numbers, you've seen them. They're on the telephone pole, they're on a yard sign stuck in a median. Maybe it was a Facebook ad, or you Googled cash offer and they popped up. A bunch of them probably popped up. Anyway, those are companies that kind of started with, some of them will say We Buy Houses, some of them say cash offer. But anyway, what they're doing is legal. So I don't want to beat up on them too much, but I just think it's important that people understand what's actually going on with most of them. So they're not actually going to buy your house in many, many cases. They're going to get your house under contract for a deep, deep discount. And then they're going to turn around and they're going to sell their contract on your house for a much higher price. So say they're going to give you $250,000 for your house, cash as is, close in a month, but they're not actually usually going to be the ones to do it. So in this case, I found out without even having anything signed by my client, they were already marketing his house for a higher price to other investors. They didn't have the right to do that yet. Had they signed an agreement that they could have marketed it, they couldn't list it, right? Because they're going to be the ones to keep the extra profit, not him. When I list it higher, the seller keeps the extra profit. But anyway, many times their contracts are built such that they're going to assign them to another end buyer. The wholesaler, which is what you usually call those companies that come in and make you a cash offer for your house, is not going to be your end buyer. But more than that, they're probably going to have to show it. It's probably still going to get inspected. And maybe most importantly is most of them use their own contract. And guess who the contract that they paid to design is friendly to? To them. I've seen contracts canceled at the very last minute that the seller thought he was selling cash as is, and all of a sudden he's not selling at all. So it's just important to know how some of those companies work so that you can ask the right questions, because there are absolutely times when it makes sense to use one of those companies. You can't do any showings and you can find a company that's an actual cash buyer, or the house is in just total disrepair and there's really not anybody that's going to buy it. Most of the time you could still sell it on the market, but those companies do offer some value in the certainty when you get the right company, but a lot of them are not the right company. So I think more people need to understand what's happening when you call that number on the telephone pole. Okay, so back to the story. Sorry for the tangent. What is the takeaway here? Well, do what he did. If you aren't sure of something, if you run into a situation that you're being rushed, you feel uncomfortable, the numbers don't feel right to you, slow down, call somebody that you trust. If you don't have somebody you trust, you can call me. I can promise that I'll shoot you straight. I'll give you the information you need, and then you can use that to decide what the best thing for you is. That's what he did. I didn't push him toward any route. I just gave him the information that he needed to make a good decision, and he did. I would love to share the hard numbers with you right now, but I can't yet because the property still hasn't closed. When it does, I will definitely post an update here. If you don't already follow me or subscribe, please do so that I can keep you in the loop on this and other good stuff, I hope. Thanks.